Welcome to the Bite Size Brilliance podcast. I'm your host, April Darley, and today we're going to talk about how to reframe failure and mistakes. So, in my practice, I often see that come up as a pretty common sabotage that someone will be stuck or indecisive because they're afraid to make any kind of decision. Because what if it turns out to be wrong? What if it's a mistake? What if they fail at something they've tried? And that feels so painful that they would just rather not do the thing, not show up, not try. Nope, not going to do it. So, the reason we often are afraid of failure and mistakes is because of the emotional definition that we've given it. Our subconscious is supplying some definition that says, if I fail, it's my fault. Just because I didn't get the outcome I wanted means something is deficient within me. I'm wrong. I'm bad. I should have known better. I should have done better. So we tend to attach outcome and personal worth together. And that is a big thing I see people do. And there are two people that I love who reframe mistakes and failures in a brilliant way. And one is Wayne Dyer. And Wayne is no longer with us. He's passed away, but he was a very prolific author at Hay House. And I first learned about this reframe many years ago through one of his books. And I can't even tell you which one because he wrote so many. And I'm going to paraphrase here how he felt about failure is he said that failure is a great teacher. It makes you aware of an outcome that you didn't like. And that's all it is. You tried something, it didn't turn out the way you wanted. And you have free will to now make a different choice when you are faced with the same or similar decision. That's it. Doesn't mean anything about you. It was just data. You tried a thing, had an outcome. That outcome didn't work out like you wanted. So you are free to try again and make a different decision, which is going to lead to a different outcome. So it's a very logical, scientific way to look at it. But logic is the very thing that pulls us out of emotional quicksand. I do this with my clients all the time. We have a three brain system. If you go to my website, take a look at the work I do something called three brain realignment technique. And in that technique, we have a survival brain, an emotional brain, and a logical brain, and they correspond to different levels of consciousness. And we tend to operate from our subconscious, which is emotional, and unconscious, which is survival, up to 97% of the time. So, based on that, almost everything we do is from an emotional or survival based place, not logic. So, when you find yourself in this fear, shame, blame, unworthy kind of space, that lets you know that you are not operating from your highest self. You are not operating from your conscious brain. You have fell into the quicksand, and in that emotional quicksand, it's logic that's going to be the thing that lifts you out of that. So when you look at Wayne Dyer's method, it's very logical, very scientific. It's just data points. It's just an outcome you didn't like and you tried. Now, the other person I love is Dolly Parton. Right? Who cannot love Dolly Parton? Even if you don't like country music, Dolly Parton, if you really read some of her interviews, her television segments, she's fabulous with her outlook on life. And Dolly Parton, I'm going to paraphrase again, said, I've never failed at all in my life. I either got what I wanted or I learned a lesson, but either way, I win. Now, Dolly's outlook is very similar to what some of the most successful entrepreneurs in business are able to do. And this is the technique I want to introduce you to, my friends, is it is the technique of detaching yourself from outcome. Okay, just uncoupling those two things and kind of blending the Dolly entrepreneur Wayne Dyer method. And it is just a decision you made with a certain amount of data or information that you had at the moment. And you did a courageous thing, which is make a decision or took some action. Now, you've probably heard the phrase hindsight is 2020. So what does that really mean? That means you're only able to fully understand and comprehend all the ramifications of choices and actions after the fact. When everything has played out, that is the only time you are able to see it in its entirety. And if you were to try to stay in that hindsight place, it does keep you in fear and indecision because you don't have all of that data. Unless you have superpowers, you're clairvoyant, precognition, you will not know all the ramifications ahead of time, all the variables, all the external things you can't control. All you know is the information you have right now, and you need to work with that. So you did the best that you could with the information that you had. So there's a bit of acceptance and forgiveness. And really, if you look at that, it's a very gutsy thing to make decisions to move forward boldly and bravely, even if you're not sure how things are going to work out. And those entrepreneurs or Dolly Partons and Wayne Dyers of the world, they know they're going to be able to handle it, even if it doesn't work out the way that they wanted to. That then they're going to be presented with another choice. And then they're going to use the information what they have. And then that is how life keeps rolling on. It's sort of like a maze of crossroads. Sometimes you're going to get the outcome you wanted, and sometimes you don't. But it's the indecision and the fear and the emotional weight you are giving to those outcomes that is causing you pain, anxiety, suffering, or inner conflict. So, how you detach from that is just looking at it from that higher perspective. Give yourself grace, love, detach that the outcome doesn't mean anything about you personally. That's just a story or old programming, that you are able to make choices with the information that you have. You're a smart cookie, I know it. And that if things didn't work out how you wanted, we've got free will and we can make different choices that can lead to different outcomes. Life doesn't stop just because of one failure and one mistake unless you allow it to. All right, my friends, I hope this was helpful for you. But if you do need a little bit more practice on making decisions, working through the fear, needing some coaching and some exercises with that, check out my website, aprildarley.com. In the shop tab, I have a resource for you. It's called the Decision Guide. And that decision guide is specifically designed to take you through these levels of consciousness and to take you through the fears and sabotages that each level of consciousness might bring up for you. How do you overcome them to clarify what you really want and to feel confident about every decision you make? So check that out. I'll drop the link also in the show notes. But until next time, my friends, you're a smart cookie. I believe in you. You just got to believe in you. And we're all going to be brilliant together. Bye, my friends.